Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Growing Up Congolese. Thank you so much for checking me out. Thank you so much for being here. For the returning listener, my loyal listeners, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Um, as promised, we're gonna talk about Morocco. um, I've already related to you how much I always felt the need to defend Africa, right? Because again, when I moved here as a child, I started learning about the way other people view Africa, and that made me defensive, right? And I made it a point to showcase the best version of Africa, right? I remember when I was in school, I would bring my teachers African food, basically Congolese food or West African food. I would wear my traditional African clothes. I had my hair in African thread. So I've always wanted to show our beauty, our our cultures, so that's something that I've worn. And as and this sentence will sound so weird because I'm 26. But as I'm getting older, I'm just learning to just let go and not try to always, get my emotion riled up and just be like, every time I hear someone say something about Africa, I'm just like, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to kind of hold my emotions because I feel like having a 9-year-old, 10-year-old take on these, battles, is hard. And this is just a general thing that I'm learning to do, is just to not have to fight anymore. I am trying to not fight anymore. And when I mean fight, I don't want to fight for somebody. I don't want to fight with somebody. I don't want to have arguments. If you're going to come to me for the purpose of arguing or fighting, I will cut you off in a way that nobody has cut you off. I would just walk away. I would literally cuss you out. Like, you forget I'm a Christian. So like, because I feel like my entire life I've always had to like be on the defensive. I've always had to be on the defensive. I've had to be on the defensive, whether it's being a black girl, a black woman, or an African girl, an immigrant. They just, based on my different labels, I always felt like I have to defend. And I am in this space in my life where I'm just like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to always be under the fence. It's exhausting to always try to like get your point across. If by this time people don't know stuff or don't, and when I say I don't want to fight for somebody, I feel like I'm always the first person to fight for somebody when I see something like someone's doing wrong to them, but no one fights for me, nobody fights for me. So I'm not being pessimistic in saying this. I'm just realizing how much toll fighting and always being on the defensive have taken in my personal life, especially my health, have suffered greatly because I've always been stressing over other people. I've been stressing to make life right for other people. So I am in my me stage. I am in my if you want to be with me, you have to be able to take care of me stage. If that has to do with friendships, family, my man, it's like, I ain't taking care of nobody because I just, and I say all that to say that always having these heavy political dialogues affects me greatly, right? It affects me because A, I'm passionate about the work that I do. B, I enjoy people. I've been a lucky girl to have been raised by so many different communities. So when something happens, I don't like to pick sides. I do not like to pick sides. And although I am naturally logical, naturally I'm very logical more than I am emotional. Um, I'm in an era where my emotions are taking the best of me because again I said I am in my me era. I'm taking care of me, so my emotions are very active, right? Because I am taking care of me. I'm trying to put all of my energy on me, so I am using more my emotional side, so when things happen, I don't want to use that emotion to discuss things that are heavy. And when I was younger and I was defending, when African topics will come about, when I was defending Africa, I was defending all 56 countries, right? Because again, I grew up knowing that there's 56 African countries. First of all, never mind. There's 54. There's 54 countries. I don't want y'all to be like, wow, our education is distorted. No, there's 54 countries. Sorry. I don't know why I was thought 56. But there's 54. So 54, okay? I don't know why I just thought with 56. I keep thinking 56 in my head, so but there's 54. I've always known that there was 54 countries, right? So when somebody would say, they'll be like, oh yeah, Africans are this, African that, I'll be like, as an African, I'll be like, I'm speaking for all of Africa. No. It wasn't until I was maybe like 11 or 12, and it was weird because it was also the same year, I met Morocco, I think she was Algerian, yeah, an Algerian girl. And so when she introduced herself, I asked her, oh, where are you from? She's like, oh, I'm from Algeria. I'm like, oh, cool. So you're African too? And then she was like, no, I'm not African. I was like, wait, what? This girl flat out told me, she's like, I'm not African. I was like, wait, is my education distorted? Is in Algeria in Africa? She's like, but we're not Africans, we're white. And I looked at her and I was like, okay. I never spoke to that heifer again. Never spoke to her again the entire school year. And then, I believe it was the summer, I met a Cape Verdean. And again, same thing, right? We're introducing ourselves and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, my parents are from the Congo. Where are you from? She's like, oh, I'm Cape Verdean. I'm like, oh, you're African. She's like, no, we're not African. We're Portuguese. No. And I'm like, excuse me? I was like, maybe this girl's still living in the 1900s or something. I was like, wait, I thought Cape Verde got their independence. And then she was like, but we're still not Africans because we live on an island. And I'm a Christian, but I did cuss her in my head. I did not say a word to her. I just walked away. That was the first time that I learned that some Cape Verdean, I'm not going to say all, but some Cape Verdean do not identify as African, and some Northern African do not identify as African, right? And then when I started looking at when people would say Africa, they meant Sub-Saharan Africa. So for some people, to be African, you needed to be dark skin, Sub-Saharan African. So that's what they saw as Africa. So the top part of the continent, and if you were an idiot on an island, that is on the continent of Africa. For some people, they were not African. And because I knew the narratives that people had of Africa, and I was trying to just, I was always defending Africa, I was defending the people who like to be African. The people who don't like to be African, I had a strong disdain for them. A strong disdain for them. You know, like as a person, I'm very territorial. I'm a Scorpio, so it comes with the territory. I'm very territorial. So when you went like against, like there's nothing about you, your country, your people, like hell, if it goes underwater, I won't feel bad. Right? Because I'm very territorial. I say this to bring up the Moroccan debacle that happened. So for those who did not watch, the DRC, which is my native country, was playing against Morocco. Now, before the game, Congolese people just knew we were gonna lose because Morocco is one of those teams that are very strong. So we just knew that, yeah, maybe we are getting out of the CAF, right? So miraculously, we did not. It was a draw, so we were both in the final 8. So there was an incident that happened where our captain, my forever captain, Chancel Bimba, he was kneeling and praying at the end of the game. And the Moroccan coach came to him. When you look at the video objectively, you will see a guy kneeling and then a guy coming up to him and extending his hand, right? Chancel, the Congolese captain, gives him a hug, right? Gives him like, you know, those dap hug that men do and everything. And he's walking away. And this coach, this Moroccan coach, still is holding Chancel's hand. And Chancel is like, oh, you can see that he realized that, oh, this man was not coming to shake my hand. Objectively, that's what you can see. That's what you can infer. Because literally, it was a 10-second interaction, right? This man was kneeling. You see a coach approaching him, extending his hand, and Chancel taking his hand and hugging him in return and leaving, you know, like, hey, what's up, good game, leaving. And then this man, so as he was leaving, this man keeps pulling at his hand for him to stay as if he was a little child. And then Chancel was like, whoa, what's going on? And then other players came in and then it became like a scuffle and all of that. It was not a great image, but from an objective standpoint, regardless of what was said, regardless what Chancel said, or regardless what the Moroccan coach said to him, we don't know. That's what you can see. Right? Now, this happened, they go to the conference room. The coach was asked the question, and then he was just like, oh yeah, you know, we're playing in the heat and everything. I would like for Chancel to, yeah, you know, like, we did not show the best version. I'm paraphrasing, right? We did not show the best version of our countries and everything, but it was just like, you know, a sporting thing. And this is what this man said. I was going to shake his hand and he shook mine. The reason why I held on his hand was because he wouldn't look at me in the eyes. I like it when I shake people's hand to look at me in the eyes. First of all, let's stop right there. The audacity of this man to come and be like, well, I went there to shake his hand and he did not look me in the eye. So that's why you were pulling at his hand, because you were trying to make him look at you, like as if he's like your child or something. Or like, even if it's a child, like, you're not supposed to do that to a child. He's a grown-ass man. And you can tell that Chancel did not have any bad intentions, because this man hugged him. He hugged him. He wrapped his arm around this man. So you could tell that already, using what the coach said, that he was a provocateur. C'était un provocateur. He was trying to provoke Chancel. He was going there with the intention to start something with him. We don't know what he was mad about. We don't care. But from his mouth, He was trying to provoke the man. Now, where it took a really bad turn was the coach goes to a French news article and says like, oh yeah, you should ask him. He talks about God and everything because, you know, Chancel is a devout Christian. If you watch the Congolese game, you will see how Christianity was on display. He's a devout Christians and everything. This man prays. Like, there's a joke in the Congolese community that this man should be an archbishop and everything. But he, in the French journal, he insinuates that Chancel says something racist to him. That's where all hell broke loose. That's where my disdain for North Africans came back. Because as you can see, I'm referring to them as North Africans. I had to learn to refer to them as North Africans over the years. Even though to me, they're Africans. Right? This man said Chancel said something racist to him. Now, the interaction was 10 seconds, right? Chancel was praying. This man approached him. When he finished praying, he stood up. This man extended his hand. Chancel hugged him. And as Chancel was leaving, this man was tugging at his hand. What racist thing could he have said to you? Let's just use that as Exhibit A. What racist thing did he say to you? Now let's talk about Exhibit B. Here's why we saw that comment as racist from the Moroccan to Chancel. Because, not racist because of color, technically. Yes, because of color. Because, how do I say this? Over the years, I've learned that North Africans like to use their lighter, paler complexions to look down on dark Africans or Sub-Saharan Africans, right? To them, and again, with this global understanding of to be Africans, you have to be dark skinned or whatever, or you have to be poor, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, and all that. For them to say that they're African, they'd be like, but we're white. But we are not in like Africa, we're not dark skinned. We're close to white. And in the American context, you know, because we have like boxes that we have to check off over the census, right? So they ask you, are you white? Are you black? Are you Hispanic? Are you Native American? Or are you Asian? So I found out like North African and Middle Eastern click off the white box. So in the United States, they can click off the white box. Only in the United States. I lived in Europe. They are treated as shit. They are treated as Africans. The same crap they give us, yeah, they give it to them more. They give them worse. So I don't know who the hell is telling them that they're white, except for Americans. I lived in Europe. Les Maghrébins, they're not seen as a good members of society in Europe. They're not seen as a white compatriot, no. Compatriot, no. In Marseille, they are viewed as, you know, the illegal immigrants, you know. You know how like in the United States, the racist people use that the Mexicans, you know, are coming here, blah blah blah. They use Moroccans, they use North Africans. They are the smugglers. That's the label that they know of. So I don't know who the hell told them they're white. or that they or or they have white privilege or something. But here's another reason why nobody believed that. Not only because the interaction doesn't show that, but here's another reason why nobody believed that the Congolese captain Chancel Bemba could say something racist to him. In order for a Moroccan and a Congolese to communicate, they have to communicate in French. I love Chancel Bemba. He is forever my captain. One of the best Congolese captain we ever had. The man cannot speak French. This man, a week prior to that incident, he was shamed by Congolese people, his own people, the people that he was sent to Cote d'Ivoire to represent. He was shamed by them because he doesn't know how to speak French. The man will butcher a sentence. Hell, Moliere is turning on his grave every time this man opens his mouth to speak. Moliere is pissed off that this man is trying to speak French. Because the man cannot speak. The man, he moved to Europe through football and everything. He did not go to school. He did not have proper education. Maybe he's getting proper education now and everything. But it is unbelievable. Knowing his vocabulary or the limitation thereof, that this man will utter a racist French word to you when he's literally speaking, and not to be me, like at a second grade level. He uses very simple dictions. This man cannot speak when he speaks, he talk like this. Do you see how the pauses I had to do? This man is looking for words to put together in order to make his sentence come out correctly. So, you, as in more educated person than he is, knowing that this man cannot speak, you know that because I'm sure you've watched his interviews. I am sure you watch the comments from his own people, from Congolese people, shaming this man for not knowing how to speak French. And I'm going to talk about this in a future episode on how stupid, disgusting, and weird it is for Africans to shame other people about other people not speaking the language of foreigners. It's weird. It's stupid. It's colonialistic. It's dumb. Yes, I understand the argument of he's on the international stage and so he should speak, so he should have a good grasp of an international language. I get that. But for you guys, Congolese people, to shame this man the way you did, because he couldn't speak French, because, the man said la instead of le, shame on you. Shame on you. And shame on that coach. Because that coach knew that. That coach knew that the man is, and I don't want to use the word illiterate because he may be going to school now. And I've watched recent interviews of his, and, it's getting better. I feel like his kids are coaching him. His wife is coaching him. It's getting better. But he wasn't speaking well during CAN. I'm glad they started asking other players. They made other players representatives because they were like, "Ooh, yeah, we're gonna get cussed out again because this, yeah, whatever he's saying, only God knows." So for you to be like, "Oh yeah, he said something racist to me," no, he didn't. There's no way you're gonna Convinced that you're gonna convince us that he said something racist to you. No way in hell. No way. But I'm glad an investigation was done, and the coach was, I believe the coach was suspended for 6 games, I believe, yeah, and 2 CAF games, right? And to just display the racism, when he did that interview, the Moroccan coach did that interview, some Moroccans started posting monkey emojis under Chancel's Bimba picture. They started calling him a monkey, because they went to what, they used to. Because for them, us dark Africans are monkey. They don't have resemblance to monkey. Not that we do, but so I'm trying to say, like, in their heads, we're dark skinned, we have resemblance to monkeys, so we are monkeys, right? Because they're white, you don't resemble monkeys. So and I don't know who the hell told them that they were white in the first place, but whatever. And I remember I told you guys, like, there was this Moroccan guy who was trying to holler at me and everything, and we were talking, we were cool. I did not talk for his ass for 3 days. I didn't talk to his ass for 3 days. We're cool now, we're good, he's a good man. But I did not talk to his ass for 3 days. And he was like, he texted me and then he was like, yo, we good. And I remember when we met, like, when he asked me out, I'm just like, why? And then he was like, why not? And I'm just like, and then he was like, oh, you're pretty and everything. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm pretty, but like, why you want to date me? I'm like, you don't know, I'm a Sub-Saharan African right now. And then he was like, well, I'm African too. And I'm like, oh, so you think you're African? She's like, and then he told me, like, most Moroccan think they're African. I'm like, where are they? I've never met one. And then he was like, well, now you're meeting one. And I've met, Moroccan communities here and everything who are very cool and all that. So I'm cool with them and everything. But that incident pissed me off. It pissed me off because you have a Moroccan white passing man going to a French newspaper to discredit a person that both of them deem less than. No, I've never been one of those people again. When I hate you, I really hate you. But I've never really been one of those people who are like, oh, I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to, like, they've never been appealing to me. Never. Right? Because of my interact. Like, again, I never even try to go to Cape Verde either. Never appealed to me. I don't care. Right? But here's the logical part of me. When the emotional part of me left, here's what the logical part of me came to realize. A, when we do that, we causes more division. So if I choose to hate all Moroccans or all Cape Verdean because of some interactions that I've had, like, I'm not advancing the problem. I am promoting division more than I am promoting unity, and that's not something I'm all about. So that's one thing. Like, again, in my me era, I am untangling my anger, right? I am evaluating the best way to respond to stuff like that. But one thing that I am good at, and anyone who really know me, who truly knows me, know this about me, and that is something I pride myself in, is that A, I'm fair, and B, I'm self-aware. And 3, I am smart very smart to know that this discourse between North African and Sub-Saharan African goes both ways. Let me explain. Sub-Saharan African also look down on Northern Africans. And that has actually nothing to do with racism. It has everything to do with terrorism. Some Saharan Africans, we don't mingle with North Africans. Oh, and with terrorism, I mean because of religion. And it's a little bit kind of linked with race a bit, because I know a lot of black Muslims. My best friend is a black Muslim. I've been to a mosque multiple times. I've never felt unsafe with a black Muslim. Never. But there is something, and again, we can blame this on the West, right? There is something to say about how, because Middle Eastern and sometimes they group Northern Africans within that label, how because the discourse is, their land of terrorists and everything, we don't, excuse my language, but we don't fuck with them. We don't fuck with them. We don't. They're predominantly Muslim countries, so there's not a world where you're like, oh, I want to date a Moroccan, or I want to date this person, I want to date an Iraqi and everything. There's no, that world does not exist. I remember my friend, her fiance, but who's now her husband, he went to Africa for vacation, and then he comes back, and then he was like, oh, I want to be Muslim. And then, so she calls me, she's like, I'm breaking up with him. I'm like, why? He's like, oh yeah, because he went there, and then he's like, oh, he found Islam. And then we grew up Christian and everything, and then she was like, I'm not, this is not going to work out, because then he's going to ask me to convert and everything. It's like, well, maybe he won't want you to convert, maybe he just wants you to accept, but he did not end up becoming Muslim and everything, because he he realized that there's a lot of rules. And again, I'm not laughing because I'm just laughing because of how he presented it to her. Like, he's like, because he went for a month, and then he comes back, he's gonna be Muslim. And then she was like, what? Then when he realized that he has to take it seriously and you have to abide by the rules, I feel like some Christians take Christianity for granted, because Muslims are faithful. They are faithful. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. Sub-Saharan African also have prejudice towards Northern Africans, and it's rooted in religion, and it's also rooted in discussions about terrorism, right? Because when you hear terrorism, you're not thinking about Muslim Senegalese. You are not thinking about a Muslim Guinean. The first visual that comes in your head is not of a Muslim Ivorian. It's not. you're thinking about Middle Eastern, Northern African group. So it tends to also be like, yeah, don't mess with them, they're blank. Don't mess with them, they're blank. So it goes both way. And I was having a conversation with my best friend. Like I said, she's a Muslim Guinean. And I spoke to her about this, and she told me something that I did not know, right? She said, oh, because of our black skin, they don't consider us as true Muslims. So, like, fair skinned Muslim countries do not consider black skinned Muslim countries as true Muslim because of their black skin or the darker complexions. And I'm just like fascinated by that idea, right? And now I'm thinking, do white people consider us real Christians? Do they? Trust me, if a white person comes to a Congolese church, they would definitely not think we're Christians. Although we don't think they're Christians either, because, Christians don't. Okay, well, never mind. The Bible does have a lot of stories about slavery. Never mind. But yeah, so I'm smart enough to know that both groups have prejudice towards one another, and I'm also smart enough to know that those prejudice is rooted in colonial narratives, and that if both of us stay on our side and get offended or cut somebody off the way I used to, because I don't do that anymore, like I say, I've been fasting and praying. I found Jesus, okay? Jesus is working through me. Then none of us win. And the only person who wins is the colonial mindset, is the colonial puppet master. Hopefully this has been an informative episode. Please leave your comments, let me know what you think, and please tell me a time where you faced this, if you have, and if you haven't, tell me what you think of this episode. All right, y'all, talk to you later. Bye.